This is going to be one of the very just vulnerable video, and today I want to share the story of why I chose to be a dating and relationship coach. A lot of people always look at me and say, what experience does she have? She is way too young to be giving advice to people in regards to relationships and dating. But little do people know is that I went through a very toxic, emotionally abusive relationship for almost 5 years. Part of the reason of why I stayed for so long is because he was my first everything. I was always very sheltered growing up. I never had a boyfriend in middle school or high school or even college. I met him basically at the end of the last year in college. I think it started off great, and I think what was dangerous about this is he was very good with his words. And that is something that now I teach people to please look at the actions. Please look at who they are entirely as a person, not just the compliments that they give you, not just how they praise you. And words can be so dangerous because they can be sweet like honey and make you fall in love. And that's what happened to me. I've always been quite naive, and I always like to look at the best in people. And unfortunately, I fell for someone that wasn't healed, that had a lot of issues of his own. And unfortunately, instead of separating myself, once I noticed that, once I had that intuition telling me this isn't normal, this isn't good, it was so faint that I ignored it. And unfortunately, due to me ignoring it for many years, I suffered. I suffered quite a bit in this relationship. And that's not to say that there weren't good moments either. I also had a lot of fun with him. He also made me laugh a lot. And that's what's so confusing about toxic relationships, because people feel like, oh yeah, I would right away know when I'm in a toxic relationship because it's always bad. But that's not the case. There's so many highs, but there's so many lows. Within this relationship, I unfortunately did not stand firm in my boundaries. So there were certain things that were asked of me that I was not comfortable with doing, but I did so anyway. I was nervous to do this video because I don't want to cry in front of a camera, but I think it's important for me to share my story as to why I became a coach. I let my boundaries down. I let them plop to the ground because I believe that if I didn't drop them, then I didn't love him, that I wasn't showing him love and true vulnerability. And I think what's dangerous about some people is he never really forced me to do anything, but he manipulated me in such a way where at the end of the day, he got what he wanted. And it confused me so much because he told me how much he loved me. He wanted the best for a relationship, and I fell for it, right? I let my boundaries down. I did what he wanted because I was afraid that he would get upset or angry or think that I didn't love him. Although I loved him deeply. I loved him so much. But because I was letting go of all my boundaries, a lot of resentment was built up within me. And that was no one's fault but my own. I let that happen. I abandoned myself. And so slowly, when we would fight, that resentment, that feeling of anger towards myself, but towards him as well, would come out. And I would lash out because I wanted to defend myself, because I had so much built up resentment. And I reacted in ways that I am not proud of. And he was always someone that didn't leave me alone when we would fight. So it was this mix of I wanted to run away, but I wasn't allowed to because he was always here, 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 here. And so I didn't know what to do with myself, so I would explode. And because I did so, I was made to be the one, well, you're the one that lashed out. You're the horrible one. You're the one that's difficult to love. And slowly but surely, I believed it. I believed that a piece of gum on the floor was worth more than I was because I was so difficult. And that deeply got ingrained in me. And I thought, no one else is going to love me. He's such a saint for putting up with me. And so I almost admired him that despite how difficult I was, he still loved me. And so some fights would get to the point that I became physical. I pushed. I was so angry. I felt like I couldn't escape. So I reacted in ways that I will never ever be proud of. But I think it's important to note, because most often when people say they're in a toxic relationship, they put the blame on the other person entirely. But a toxic relationship will never happen unless there's two parties involved. I could have said, you know what? These are my boundaries. And if you don't respect them, then I'm going to walk away. And that would have been the end of that. But I played into it. I let them go. I let myself go. And I allowed for him to talk to me in such a way. So then I talked to him in such a way. So then what leg could I stand of when I would be offended of him cussing at me? Because I remembered a week ago I cussed at him, but it was only because I didn't know what else to do. I was in such a pit of self-hatred. My self-esteem was completely non-existent. And so I started accepting that too. I stopped fighting against him calling me names or blaming me for things. I remember screaming at the top of my lung fights, thinking that was normal. Thinking this is just how couples are. It's just very intense and we're just angry, but we'll make up. We just have to get through this rough patch. It'll be fine. I remember messages I would get would be, "You're so fucking dumb. I'm giving you more than you deserve and you're acting like an entitled brat. Fuck you. I especially told you what I want and you made it about you. You fucked us. You raped me. You're giving me stomach cancer. Shut your fucking face. Step up to the plate or fuck off. You're better than that. Give it up. Grow the fuck up. I want a selfie to show me that you're not self-obsessed. You're crazy if you think I'm going back down. It's easy. If you want a call, bend to my will. And I might bend to yours. Do something before you expect something. What the fuck don't you understand? Ask someone to explain it to you. Do the fucking work for once, queen. You're not actually a queen if you needed reminding." And those are just a couple of the sweet messages I would get. And when I would read these, I got to the point where when I would read these, I felt like it was my fault that he was reacting this way because of things that I did. And so I felt like I had no leg to stand on, right? To ask for respect. And so I let it continue and I let it continue. And a lot of these fights I wouldn't share with anybody because I was protecting his image. I didn't want anybody to think badly of him because I loved him so much. And that was one of the many mistakes I made. If you feel like you have to hide certain things about your partner, that you're afraid that your family, that your friends will be like, that's not okay. What they're doing is not okay. But again, with all of that, I always blamed myself. It's because of me that he's reacting this way. It's because of me that this is happening. What I lacked entirely was self-love. And people will ask, well, what made you walk away after almost 5 years? What was the moment? And the moment, I don't want to get emotional, but the moment was actually just in the middle of the night. I was in bed and my inner voice, I'm telling you, it just screamed out at me. And it said, enough is enough. Enough is enough. That's what I kept hearing. Enough is enough. And I listened, I cut it off. And I think what made it even more difficult about this breakup, when you're in a toxic cycle, they don't believe that you're gonna leave. So when you actually do, it makes them angry. So I had to deal with a lot of harassment from him for many, many months. I wasn't being left alone. It wasn't like a peaceful breakup where I could just cut my losses. So it made it extra hard for me to stay true to my word of I am leaving and I'm not coming back. I don't think he believed it for a long time. But what helped me to stay away was, and a lot of people say, oh, why would you record yourself crying? But throughout our entire relationship, I couldn't vent to anybody else. I couldn't open up about anything to anybody else but me. And so I would record myself, sort of like video diaries of just crying, because I knew that somewhere in the future I would look back at those videos and be thankful that I'm no longer in that place. And now I look back at those videos and it's hard to watch, but oh my goodness, I also feel so proud of myself. So when I look back at that version of me, I know there's people out there that feel like that. And I knew that there's so many more like me, men and women, who are in such deep hurt and want to find a good relationship, that want to find healthy love, that want to become the best version of themselves. So that's what I'm doing, I don't want people to feel like they're unlovable, that they can't find that healthy love, because I am now in the best relationship of my entire life. I've never felt such peace, such support, such respect. I am finally happy and fulfilled. But the only person that did the work was me. Another relationship didn't come and save me. My current partner didn't come and save me. I worked on myself. I built myself up from the ground up to become the best version of me. That's what I help people with. I help others become the best version of themselves, to work on themselves, to know what to look out for, to know what signs, what red flags to look out for, or green flags to appreciate, for them to come home to themselves so they can create healthy love. They can co-create a love story with somebody else. And that is what I'm passionate about, and that's why I'm here. And I don't know if this story made sense or was all over the place. I didn't want to go too much into detail, but I just wanted to share why I do what I do and why I'm here. Thank you for listening. I love you all. Bye-bye.